Hi, Lucas. Nice to meet you. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to today's session.
Yeah,
How are
awesome.
you?
Yeah, fine. Thank you. Thank you for your time that you do this interview with me. Lots of questions, so let's dive into this. First of all, let's get to know you a little bit. Um, what are you doing at Onino, and how did you come into crypto?
Let's start with where I started and also met my co-founders. I started studying at the KIT, which is one of the most renowned technical universities in Germany in 2016, and also that was the point where I met my co-founders, Kai and Alex. Um, And also when doing our studies 2 years later, we already had our first startup. My focus point in studying were informatics and financial markets, which directly ties into the whole crypto narrative, actually. But during my studies, I worked as an IT systems engineer, and that basically was about analyzing and implementing IT solutions to make the project execution at my employer more efficient, which is also something that translates very well into my role right now at Onino. And how I got into crypto and the whole blockchain space. It all started also close to when I started studying at the KIT, which was 2016, and towards the end of 2016, which kind of was the start of this whole ICO narrative and the ICO mania. I got interested. Of course, first it was motivated financially. So I was actively trading crypto and financial markets, and that stuck with me. But then I started looking into like the more technological side of things. I started digging deep into white papers, what you had to do with all the ICOs up and coming. But also I started looking into the business perspective and where this technology can be used. And that really short basically brought me to where we are nowadays, with the interest and understanding of the crypto and the blockchain world and technology, and especially always looking at where can it be used in an industrial and business use case. Going into the part of your question is, what is my job at Onino? If you wouldn't mind, I would just quickly share my screen because I
Yeah,
think that
sure.
helps a little bit to understand the role. Um, Onino, blockchain but easy. It's kind of a slogan that getting out there. And the main question is, what do I do at Onino to make blockchain actually that easy? And simply put, you can say I'm currently working on two major things. The one is the role of the product owner, and one is the implementation of our subchain framework. I will put the subchain framework in the back a little bit. We can touch upon that later. So now let's maybe touch upon what is the actual role of a product owner, so everyone listening to this can understand it. And for me, as I have a background of research from the university, I always say the product owner builds a hypothesis and wants to validate it at the market with their clients. And that translates to what you see here. Basically, kind of align the engineering team, the needs of your customers and your client base and your user base and your community, and basically combine all that to build a working product that at the end of the day generates value. And that is currently, alongside writing lines of code for the subchains, the main thing I'm doing at Onino, and building up the right processes for having everyone that is working at Onino deliver the best value they can do.
Yeah, so you are writing the code.
I'm not the only one writing the code, of course, and there are people, for example, Kai, for example, Andreas or Erdal, and we are currently actively looking for more people that, of course, are better than me at writing code. I'm more at the intersection of
Hmm.
what is actually needed for a valuable business case and how does this translate to the technology and how can we be implemented, and also at the intersection of designing the systems.
Yeah,
But
interesting. Yeah. How big is your team, and how many code writers do you have?
currently there are including me, we have 5 people that are working on code. We are, as I said, actively hiring. There are,
Mhm.
for example, there's currently one coding task going on for a potential hire. This is one big emphasis point for us for this year to scale up our team.
Yeah, interesting. So that is always good if a team is hiring. It's a very healthy sign, of course. So speaking of Onino itself, what is your vision and your mission with Onino? What do you want to achieve with the project itself?
In general, there's always like, what is my personal vision, and then what is the vision of the company? My
Yeah.
personal vision mainly is to make blockchain technology useful in a sense that it actually solves real problems. I've never been a fan of meme coins. I've never been a fan of NFTs, but they do serve a purpose, and they do have a community, and there's nothing to be said about that. But I do see much more potential if you go beyond that. And that is also what aligns with the vision and mission of Onino, which is essentially making blockchain technology more accessible. And this will ultimately enable a widespread use for companies and individuals. And kind of, you could say that will then also have a trickle-down effect in increasing efficiency, fairness, and safety just in a global society. Of course, depending on the use cases and business cases we look at. But there are still a lot of challenges ahead for us to kind of get to the end of the road, to say
Yeah,
so. Because
can you specify this a little bit more? So what challenges do you see for the adoption of blockchain?
yeah, of course. I believe depending on who you ask, you will get different answers on that
Yeah.
question.
Uh,
Generally, we always have to think about like the life cycle of a technology, and you see that blockchain still is kind of new in the overall scheme of things. And the technology is still getting more mature by the week, by the month, and by the year. We see that with all the developments around research. Like, just take a look at the research papers on blockchain that got released over the last few years. You see quite a steep curve. So that's an indicator that there's still a long way to go. But I always like to kind of split up the challenges in technological. There's challenges from a user perspective and the challenges from an adoption perspective. Technological, we've come to a point where the scalability and the whole blockchain trilemma is not solved, but is solved to a level, from my point of view, that it can be put to use for multiple use cases that were not possible like 3 to 4 years ago. It's not that big of a problem from a scalability standpoint of view, but currently what I see evolving is like a problem for privacy and a problem for the kind of identifying actors on a decentralized networks. So these are things that will be have to solved technologically. Then from an adoption and user standpoint of view, we still have to say that blockchain is far away from being as easy to use as its Web 2 counterpart.
yeah.
Like it, I believe, or I'm a strong believer in that while blockchain technology brings inherent value, it should be invisible to the user one day. Same as like our general society is trending towards a point where they do not want to put in a lot of effort. So why should we bother them with managing their own wallets? And there's also a long way to go. And that is the challenge of adoption and usability.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. And how do you want to achieve this with Onino? How do you want to implement this vision into this, yeah, to confront these challenges? Do you have, or can you explain a little bit what solution you have to help the normal people to confront these challenges?
Yes, I will just present my screen again because I have to go into the 3 main things we do at Onino. And that's just a quick visualization. So 3 products we have are tailored to supporting developers and companies to onboard to blockchain technology and at whatever stage they are. They always start with the Onino incubator, or if you're a smaller one and you just have an idea. So quick starting into the blockchain ecosystem and getting to know technology and what you can do. And then we have the Onino developer platform and the Onino blockchain. And the developer platform is I believe, easier understandable because it's just a platform that brings blockchain development into the cloud and helps you with an AI contract generator, automation of security audits, and just a vast alignment of developer tools to make it as simple as possible and solving the complexity behind developing. And the more people that can develop on blockchain, the better the solutions will be that arise in the future for blockchain systems. And then all that funnels into our blockchain protocol, which is kind of depicted on the lower end of the graphic there. And the Onino blockchain is a DAG-based protocol, so technologically different than traditional blockchains because it runs on directed acyclic graph technology, allowing for better scalability. But the main selling points, at least for what we are focusing on, which is industry clients, is our subchain framework. And there we come to solving the privacy challenge that I touched upon earlier in a way that enterprises, or let me start earlier, a recent survey actually pointed out that 80% of industrial business case is be built on private chains. And then we come to the argument, why should a private chain be used? And why is a private chain actually considered a blockchain? Because it can just be a private database. Because the nodes that are in the system, they are controlled, or it's fully permissioned in a way that it is controlled who has access. So that's not decentralized at all. And the decentralization aspect can often translate to security. And this is something that we want to solve for enterprises, being able to host their private subchains on top of Onino while still having a decentralized and public validation schema through their validators.
Yeah, interesting.
Hope I did not ramble on too long.
No, absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much for your insights. And yeah, so you want to make blockchain easy and secure for I think this is a really interesting project. And yeah, wish you all the best with Onino and with your vision. Thank you so much for having the time for this.
Thank you for having me. I'm always looking forward to share what Onino does, but also just as the blockchain space, we are not working against each other. It is all an open community and working towards like an aligned goal in multiple senses. And that is kind of decentralizing and what is currently centralized. And that leads not only to more power to individuals, but also to just increasing efficiency in multiple ways along every kind of section of society. So
yeah, absolutely. So great final word. Thank you so much. And have a great day.
Likewise, thank you very much, and greetings to everyone listening to this online.